Hey guys, welcome to our holiday edition of Nikon TV, where we're going to talk about our holiday gift guide today and talk about some great stocking stuffers, some products that you might want to get for the aspiring photographers. And at the end of the segment, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks that you could help implement during your holiday photo taking season. All right, so first things first, here in Canada, we've put together some great bundles for photographers and even content creators out there that you might want to take a look at. And the first one I'm going to talk to you about, I have right here in my hands. And by the way, before I go any further, I wanted to say this is the first Nikon TV episode we've shot on the Nikon 58mm 0.95mm lens. We're shooting this whole episode on this lens, so if I move in and out of focus, that's on you. I'm just gonna have fun with it because there's nothing that can replicate the bokeh balls in the background, okay? We're just gonna have fun, and whether I'm in focus or not, it just looks good when I'm in that sliver of 58mm 0.95. So this right here, my friends, is a box kit that you'll see in a lot of stores here in Canada. This is the D3500 kit with the dual lens bundle. This is the 18-55 and the 70-300 VR lenses in here. You'll find it a great savings for about $300 savings. You'll find at a lot of the stores here in Canada. Great thing about this is that it is for the entry-level photographer that needs, a little bit of assistance on how to use the camera. It has the built-in guide mode. It has vibration reduction in the lenses. It's really lightweight and it comes at a great price point. With those two lenses in there, it covers pretty much 100% of the scenarios you'll be in. Well, maybe like 90% of the scenarios you'll be in. Great travel camera, great for someone that is coming from a smartphone and is using a DSLR for the first time. So we're going to drop a link in the comment section also to our YouTube channel talking about the D3500. So check it out as well if you want to learn a little bit more on the D3500. Another dual lens bundle that you'll find in stores this year that only comes out during the holiday season is the next camera in our line, D5600. Now again, you'll see this has a $300 savings at this time of year, and it also comes with the 70-300mm lens, but we're also throwing in a messenger bag with it as well. So a great value at this time of year. And for those of you wondering, what's the difference between a D5600 and a D3500? The biggest thing is for those of you that are a little bit more experienced in shooting and want to have more precise control of your focusing, this has now 39 autofocus points. And with the touch screen, this is the first in our lineup that has a touch screen, you can actually control all those points by dragging your thumb on the surface of the glass of the glass. And by the way, the glass is part of a very-angle screen that comes out to the side. So if you're doing vlogging, content creation, if you just want to do selfies, take selfies, this is a great camera because it allows you to see yourself with that fully articulating screen that tilts off to the side. So again, whether you're doing video, whether you're doing stills, if you're a content creator, if you're a student, great camera for them, and it comes with that 70-300mm, great for the soccer dads and moms out there that just want something better on the sidelines to take pictures of their kids playing sports, whether it be hockey in the wintertime or soccer in the summertime. So check that out. Great savings at your stores that you'll find on both the D3500 and D5600 bundles that we've put together here in Canada. Now, shifting gears, we're going to talk about another exciting bundle, one that's just been released in the last month. I feel so confined because of this sliver of 0.95 because we're all out of focus now, but it's okay. Because the next one I'm going to talk to you about is the Z50. Now we did a whole episode on this about a month ago on Nikon TV. We're going to drop the link in the comment section. We're also going to drop a link in the comment section for our YouTube video on the Z50. So we did a whole half-an-hour presentation on this on Nikon TV. We have about a 6-minute video on this on our YouTube channel. We go through it in a lot of depth, but anyways, for those of you that have never heard of it, it is part of the Z family. So that means it is a mirrorless camera. It comes with a pancake lens that you see right here. So this is the lens. This is the body with the lens attached. It's not just the body. It is actually lighter weight than the D5600, the camera that I just showed you. And it is a DX mirrorless body, and it has the same sensor, as a matter of fact, than the D500, which is our flagship DX lens. So it's a high-performance camera, less than half the price of a a Z6. So it's less than half the price of a Z6 kit, but it has the same focal range as that kit, so about a 24 to 75 millimeter equivalent with the 16 to 50 millimeter lens. And the great thing about this is that you save about $100 right now as well, but we also have a dual lens kit for this right out of the gates with the 50 to 250 millimeter lens. So again, with this, you have everything covered from 16 to 250, all right, which is the equivalent of about 24 to 375 if you do the math. And again, it's a very, very lightweight system. Check out our presentation on it. Who's it for? It's great for content creators out there, great for vloggers, people that are just creating content, whether you're doing it for vertical publication for smart devices. It is great to hold in your hand because it's so light. It has a great touchscreen with eye detection now. So the eye detection is key because if you're doing selfies, if you're doing vlogging, you know that you have pretty much guaranteed focus coming out of this camera, and the lens that's kitted with it, the 16 to 50, is using the new motors that make autofocus smooth but also silent, because if you're doing content creation, if you're doing video, you want to make sure that your focusing is silent so it's not picked up by the microphone in the camera, but also external microphones such as the ME1 that you see right here. And the great thing about the Z50, it has a microphone port where you can attach a microphone such as the Nikon ME1. It's just an overall great experience. I've been using the camera straight for about a month now, and I just love all the gestures you can do on that touchscreen. We've even added buttons on the surface of the glass right there. And as I tell you, all these shots that we're showing here is a lot of content creators are going to be using this outdoors in the elements. We are in the winter time right now. And just to let you know that the construction of this body does have magnesium alloy in it. So it's actually a great feel in your hands, great weight, very light, but it also has that confident, rigid feel. And like I said, we've also have a package to kit it with to 250 millimeter lens. Great travel kit for people that just want to have everything covered in two small lightweight lenses. And because it's a Z camera, you can upgrade later on to some of those portrait lenses, those wide angle lenses, those S-line lenses that we've announced in the past year with the Z6 and Z7 are fully compatible with the Z50. So those are the three exciting bundles that we've put together here in Canada. Next, I want to talk to you about some stocking stuffers, something that you can put in some of your stockings as maybe just an inexpensive gift. And before I forget, we're also going to drop a link for the Z50 in the comment section, talking about our presentation on that camera as well. Now, the first one I want to talk to you about here is this W150. Now, the W150 is a great camera for, well, I'm just going to say it's great for kids. It's great for even adults just going on vacation that want an inexpensive camera that's waterproof and shockproof. So if you want to see the camera, it's right here. It's less than $200. You can get it for about $189. Comes in this vibrant blue, so it's very easy to find when you're going through all your electronics. But if you see the back of the camera here, it has a very simple user interface. All those buttons on the side aren't labeled because every time you go into a new screen, it comes up with a new menu item. If you look at the top of the camera here, there's just simple buttons. It's great for kids because they usually grab the camera and hold it with two hands. One is the record button for video. One is taking pictures with the shutter release on the right-hand side. And to tell you the truth, if your kids are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I give it to my kids around that age. They take pictures with it all the time because they like using all this cool special in it. And kids, they're going to be getting wet. They're going to be getting dirty. And you don't want to put something, too delicate in their hands. So it's great for them. It's great for the summer times when you're playing outside, whether it's water guns or you're out in the pool getting wet. You don't have to worry about that because the W150 is fully submersible to 33 feet deep. So that's either 10 meters here in Canada or in the States, 33 feet. And it's also shock proof as well. So if you're going out on vacation, if you're going just out in the pool in the backyard, or if you're just going to, some water parks like Great Wolf Lodge like we do, it's great to just take underwater, take great pictures underwater. If you're going to destination locations and you want to take pictures of aquatic life and things like this, you'll feel confident taking this camera with you because not only can it take great pictures underwater, but it can also take great video as well. So I'm just going to show you some quick video here of some schools of fish taken with the W150. So Great camera for that, and like all the cameras that I've shown you here, it's also Bluetooth and Wi-Fi compatible. And as I alluded to earlier, it has special effects that are in this camera that really make it fun for kids to use. So in this shot right here, you know, just people that take it to the beach, and just wanted to mention, usually when you take electronics to the beach, it's not a good idea because there's so many moving parts and things. You don't want to get your DSLR sand in the mount. I take my W150 to places like the beach, and you don't have to worry about it, because if you get sand, if you get sunscreen on it, all you have to do is wash it off under tap water and it's fine. That's a great thing about having a camera like a W300 or a W150. It can take that type of abuse. Now, I was talking about special effects for this. One of the effects that my kids like to use is the small world effect. So you basically, that picture that I just showed you at the beach, you can make this picture out of it just using the special effects afterwards built into the camera. There's some effects also you can use while you take pictures, such as this picture-in-picture that I'm going to show you right now, where you take an existing picture and you overlay it on top of another picture. So this is great for just having fun, just being creative with the kids. They love all these things that you can do with the camera. And I know my kid he experiments with these all the time, and he doesn't have to read a manual because everything is so self-explanatory with the W150. Great stocking stuffer. Now, next one I want to show you is the A1000. So I'm going to show you a camera here. It's very, very slim, okay? But it packs a large punch in terms of what the lens can do. The lens is the equivalent of a 24, okay, to 840 millimeter focal length. So with this camera, you can get that entire range out of this compact lens. Now, if you see here on the side, I'm just going to zoom it out, and you can see how long that lens extrudes from this camera here. And when you turn it off, it compacts and you can fit it easily into your pocket. So it has an electronic viewfinder as well, and you can flip down the screen so you can take full selfies or video. So again, if you're doing vlogging, it actually makes a great vlogging camera as well, because it's nice and compact, fits in your pocket. And it has that great wide angle. So if you're doing vlogging and selfies, you know, you don't have to have that long of an arm. You can actually have a reasonably long arm and get yourself in the picture there. So I'll just show you a couple of things here, and I just want to mention it's also about $150 savings at this time of year. So you are going to save right now because it is the holiday season. But great camera from Nikon. It's all about the optics, as I say. And what you can't do with your smartphones is you can't zoom to the extent that you can on these cameras. So a lot of people wonder today, why do you still get point-and-shoot cameras? Point-and-shoot cameras for this. You can take that wide angle and you can optically zoom. That's the key word there, optically. And you can get really, really close. So as far as vacation goes, as far as a travel camera, it is a smaller sensor. It is not as large as, say, the three cameras that I've shown you previously, the D3500 or the Z50. But still much better quality than a cell phone. And the versatility of that lens is only because we're using such a small sensor. It gives the Nikon engineers the ability to create lenses that are so flexible. So that's our holiday gift guide. We went through kind of 5 different products there that you might want to consider getting your loved ones at this holiday season. Let's face it, if you haven't gotten them a gift now, you better make sure you run to the store right away, because with these bundles in Canada, they're bound to sell out really quick, especially with that D3500. It's a great savings at $300 off. Now, I want to take a couple of minutes to just go over some holiday tips for taking pictures during the Christmas season. So for those of you out there that, taking pictures during the holiday season, you might be posting them online for your friends and family. Don't forget to take pictures of little things that are details in our lives, such as, maybe the cookies or the gingerbread houses that you bake. Don't just, take pictures of the usual things. Don't forget those little details. If you set up decorations and little ornaments around your house, make sure to snap a couple of photos of those too, because, it's great to look back on them at different times of year and remember the type of ways you were decorating your houses. For those of you that celebrate Christmas, you might have a Christmas tree in your house. One of the tips that I would give you when photographing Christmas trees is look for the settings on your cameras that will have maybe like kind of a low light setting, depending on if you have a point and shoot or not. I usually shoot in manual, so I usually tend to up the ISO when I'm taking pictures of things like Christmas trees, because I want to make sure that it's the effect of those lights are lit up. I also want to encourage you to take photos of the little details that you might miss. So if you have a tree, don't just take a picture of the whole tree. Take a picture of the small little ornaments on that tree. You spend 3 hours putting it up, might as well take a picture of the ornaments if you celebrate Christmas, or if you do the elf on the shelf type of tradition, take little pictures of the elf everywhere. My son, I gave him a W150. He's always taking pictures of everything, including the ornaments on the trees. So, put cameras into your kids' hands. Don't wait for Christmas to give them the gift. Put it in their hands, let them have some fun, and take pictures around the holiday season. Also, don't forget to take pictures of little moments that lead up to the big events. So, it's all about Christmas, obviously, the 25th, but, when you're assembling the tree, when you're putting together your decorations around the house, don't forget about those little moments where your kids are maybe putting some ornaments on the tree. If you're doing that and you want to get, that right sort of glow in the room, remember, if you have a speed light, use a bounce flash to bounce it off of the walls or off of the ceilings and kind of balance it with your ambient light. I usually shoot manual, and I balance for the ambient light and then just put the TTL flash in there to give it a little bit of splash of light to fill in the shadows. Speaking of Christmas trees, people usually take wide-angle shots of their kids and their families around the trees. But I would encourage you, if you have a portrait lens, if you have something like a 1.850, or if you have an 85 millimeter 1.8S like I've put on the Z6 here, use those lights on your Christmas trees as, little bouquet balls, where you can just have a kind of graphic design element in the background. If you see me right here on this set of Nikon TV, we use the 58 millimeter at 0.95. I'm actually pretty close to these trees back here. To get those shots that I just showed you, I really had to separate the subject from the background. So to accomplish shots like these, you really got to make sure that the background is separated from your subject. That's step number one. Step number two, make sure your subject is pretty close to the camera. That'll accentuate the effect with a minimum focusing distance. And step number three, make sure that you open up your aperture wide open. And that's going to give you a very small sliver of focus. But if you're using something like a Z50 or a Z6, it's really easy because it has that eye detect. And make sure that everything's tack sharp and focus. All right, now let's move on to something that we're all do during the Christmas season, and that is, or holiday season, that is taking group photos. So a couple of tips for group photos that I always try to implement is, obviously, number one, use a tripod, but if you can, get that tripod as high as possible. So we're going to just show you a couple of examples of group pictures. Get that tripod as high as possible. So if you don't have, like a 9-foot tripod, I just put them on tables. So I take my tripod, I put it on a table, try to hoist it up, because those people in the back usually get neglected if you don't put it high enough. So I know it doesn't think that it makes that much of a difference, but try as much as possible to get it high up. You see this next picture here. I didn't have a tripod that was 10, 12 feet high. I actually put this on the roof of my car to get that type of group picture during the Christmas season. Now, if you're taking group pictures also, if you have a big family like I do, you have 5, 6 rows deep of people, make sure you focus somewhere around the middle so that all people are in focus. I also use a bounce flash, and I will bounce it at about a 45-degree angle to make sure that everybody is sort of evenly illuminated. If you're using just a straight flash, you'll usually only get maybe the people at the front that are properly illuminated, but if you use a bounce flash, you can kind of spray that light everywhere and make sure that it's a pretty decent group picture. So those are my kind of tips for group pictures. One other thing that I want to just say is be responsible when you're using wide-angle lenses. A lot of you might be experimenting around with a 14 to 30 millimeter wide-angle lens, great for group pictures, but you got to be very responsible with it. I'm going to show you an example right here of my friend Kendall, very slender, very svelte lady. She works out and everything like that, CrossFit every day for 7 days a week. And when I took a picture of her with a 14 millimeter wide-angle lens at 14 and stretched her off to the side, it looks like she curls 50 pounds. So you've got to be careful. Well, I published this with her permission, so don't slander me in the comment section. She knows, she's taking one for the team and just trying to prove that you must be responsible with that wide-angle lens, especially during the Christmas season. We all know that the holiday season tends to pack on a few pounds for people, but that just accentuates if you drag someone off to the side of a 14mm at 14mm focusing close. So I'm just saying, be wise the way you use those lenses. Now, another thing I want to show you here is encourage you to take your camera outdoors. I know it gets cold in Canada, -5, a balmy -5 here in Ontario. It might be -30 outside, but you get a lot of fun pictures outside, like kids tobogganing. My kids like to toboggan. If you take pictures like these, make sure you put it on AFC and not AFS. If you put it on AFS, it's guaranteed to be out of focus. So whatever camera you have, put it on continuous focus and make sure you capture these moments like only, you know, a Nikon camera and lens can with that quick autofocusing system of AFC. One last thing I want to mention, if you're taking pictures out in the snow, be careful of the exposure. I tend not to rely on the automatic exposures because it oftentimes will underexpose when it comes to snow. Experiment a little bit with the manual exposure. Some cameras, like Coolpix cameras, do have a snow mode, so you can experiment around with that too. But if you want to experiment with manual, try to overexpose a little bit because the camera will tend to underexpose for the white. So that's a whirlwind right there. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. That is our holiday gift guide. For more information on the products we talked about, check out the links in the comment section, and have fun enjoying taking pictures and videos this holiday season. We'll see you next time on Nikon TV.